Welcome. I'm Chris DeBray, and I served as the project officer for the report titled Status and Trends in the Education of Racial and Ethnic Groups 2018. The Status and Trends of Racial and Ethnic Groups is a recurring report published by the National Center for Education Statistics, or NCES. The report examines how different factors and outcomes in U.S. education vary among racial and ethnic groups. It contains 36 indicators that summarize a wide variety of topics. Today, I will highlight some findings related to family background characteristics, elementary and secondary education, and post-secondary education and outcomes. Listed here are the 7 racial ethnic groups used throughout the report, which follows the U.S. Office of Management and Budget Standards on the collection and presentation of federal data on race and ethnicity. The groups are white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islander, American Indian Alaska Native, and 2 or more races. Due to data limitations, and also for clarity, I will not present data for all groups in every slide. The first set of findings relate to family background characteristics, such as children's living arrangements and poverty. Data from the Census Bureau show that in 2016, the majority of children lived with married parents, except for Black and American Indian Alaska Native children. Moreover, the percentage of children living with a female parent with no spouse present was highest for Black children at 56%. In terms of child poverty, Census Bureau data indicate that in 2016, the poverty rate was highest for Black and American Indian Alaska Native children, and lowest for white and Asian children. Census Bureau data allow us to further explore specific Hispanic and Asian ancestry subgroups. For example, among these Hispanic subgroups, the poverty rate in 2016 ranged from 14% for children of Colombian descent to 38% for children of Guatemalan descent. Similarly, the child poverty rate varied across Asian ancestry subgroups. For instance, among these Asian subgroups, the poverty rate in 2016 ranged from 6% for children of Filipino or Indian descent to 37% for children of Bangladeshi descent. The next set of findings relate to the racial ethnic composition of public school students and teachers, achievement gaps, and high school completion rates. Between 2000 and 2017, there have been changes in the racial and ethnic composition of school-aged children, defined as those ages 5 to 17. For example, the percentage of school-aged children who are white decreased from 62 to 51%, while the percentage who are Hispanic increased from 16 to 25%. The racial ethnic composition of public school enrollment varies by region. For example, white students made up 66% of the student population in the Midwest in fall 2015, compared to 38% in the West. The South had the highest percentage of public school students who were Black at 23%, while the West had the lowest at 5%. The highest percentage of Hispanic students was in the West at 42%, while Hispanic students accounted for 12% of enrollment in the Midwest. A closer look at school enrollment reveals the extent to which students attend schools with peers of the same racial ethnic group. For example, in fall 2015, 21% of white students were enrolled in schools where 90% or more of students were white. Similarly, 15% of Black students and 17% of Hispanic students were enrolled in schools where 90% or more of students were of their own racial ethnic group. The National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP, measures student performance over time in various subjects, including reading, math, and science, at grades 4, 8, and 12. Average 4th grade reading scores were higher in 2017 than 1992 for all groups shown. In 2017, Asian Pacific Islander students scored higher than white students, and both Asian Pacific Islander and white students scored higher than their Black and Hispanic peers. Closing achievement gaps is a goal among education policymakers. Between 1992 and 2017, the white-Black score gap narrowed from 32 points in 1992 to 26 points in 2017. However, the white-Hispanic gap in 2017 was not measurably different from the corresponding gap in 1992. The high school status completion rate measures the percentage of 18 to 24-year-olds who hold a high school diploma or an alternative credential, such as a GED. From 2000 to 2016, the Hispanic status completion rate increased from 64 to 89%. The Black status completion rate increased from 84 to 92%, and the white status completion rate increased from 92 to 94%. As a result of these increases, the white-Hispanic gap in status completion rates narrowed from 28 percentage points in 2000 to 5 percentage points in 2016. The white-black gap also narrowed during this period, from 8 percentage points in 2000 to 2 percentage points in 2016. This section compares college enrollment, graduation rates, earnings, and discusses post-secondary institutions that serve a large number of specific minority groups. Similar to high school completion rates, college enrollment rates of 18 to 24-year-olds generally increased from 2000 to 2016. The college enrollment rate increased for white, Black, and Hispanic young adults, but did not measurably change for Asian young adults. Nevertheless, Asian young adults still have the highest college enrollment rate in 2016. While the white enrollment rate was 17 percentage points higher than the Hispanic enrollment rate in 2000, there was no measurable difference between the two groups in 2016. However, the white-black enrollment rate gap did not measurably change during the same period. Graduation rates are another key post-secondary metric, and they differ among racial ethnic groups. This figure shows the 6-year graduation rate in 2016 for first-time, full-time undergraduate students who began their pursuit of a bachelor's degree at 4-year institutions in 2010. Asian students had the highest 6-year graduation rate at 74%. This was approximately 35 percentage points higher than the graduation rate for American Indian Alaska Native and Black students. This year's report also highlights institutions that serve a large number of students from minority racial and ethnic groups. For instance, in fall 2016, there were 102 historically Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, that enrolled over 292,000 students, 77% of whom were Black. In addition to HBCUs, the report highlights Hispanic serving institutions, tribally controlled colleges and universities, and Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander serving institutions. The report describes how an institution is recognized as belonging to one of these minority serving groups, and also discusses institution characteristics, enrollment, and degrees conferred. Among those with a bachelor's or higher degree, median earnings of full-time, year-round workers ages 25 to 34 differed by race ethnicity in 2016. For instance, Asian young adults had higher median earnings than their white peers, and earnings for both of these groups were higher than those of their Black and Hispanic peers. In this presentation, I covered just a few of the findings from this year's report. For more information, please visit our website, where you can browse through the indicators or download the full report. Thank you for listening to this presentation on the status and trends of racial and ethnic groups.